make sure we're live. Because dead sucks. All right. Just a second. And there we go. That's locked. And we are broadcasting. Hey, folks, welcome. Geocaching Podcast. We're just about ready to start here. And all right, let's do this. Hey, folks, sit back, relax, get your favorite libation, your favorite snack. Geocaching Podcast is coming at you right about now.
You want to know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. But come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache. And if you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome to the Geocaching Podcast, episode 522, recorded live on January 10th, 2018. I'm your host, Headhardhat with
Scott Burks,
Task 427, and
Infoferret.
You can join our chat room and watch our live video stream, plus participate with us as we record this episode. All this and more can be found at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. Be sure to contact us via our voicemail line at 630-31-VOICE. And also find us on Twitter at geocachingpodcast.com/Twitter and Facebook at geocachingpodcast.com/Facebook. This episode is sponsored by our good patrons of the Geocaching Podcast. To become a contributing patron, simply click on our Patreon or PayPal logos on our website to help keep our podcast going. From all of us at the Geocaching Podcast, we thank you. Yeah, it helps to actually turn the right knob on the old board here when it comes to doing things. So, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, I'll tell you what, and I'll ding it right here. It was mofoking cold out. I'm telling you, it was very cold here.
For North Carolina, it was cold.
For North Carolina, it was cold. It got down to 0 a couple of nights.
So it's what the Northern Brits would call proper brass monkey weather.
Yes, and your brass monkeys would be falling out of the tree. I'm telling you.
Actually, cannonballs.
It was cold. It actually warmed up this weekend, or actually today. It got up to 60. And we had snow on the ground up to yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no, that's unheard of. Here it's like it snows, it goes away, and it's over. That's the deal we have for living down here.
And it stuck around though?
It stuck around for a few days, and that sucked.
I bet. Yeah. It was cold here too. It's been cold here. It's a cold
terrible
weekend. But now it's warm, so
no, that's good.
So
needless to say, I completely wimped out and did not do any geocaching this week because I was very afraid of losing my niblets when it comes to going on geocaching.
I got an event. That's about the extent of it. It was my son's bar mitzvah this weekend.
How'd that go? We've been hearing about this forever.
It went good. It went really good. He did great.
Excellent.
It's a lot of fun.
So he's his own problem, not yours, as far.
Yes, he's a man now. So. Daryl came in from Michigan, so it was nice to see Daryl. He came in for it. It's good to see him.
Yeah, it's amazing. They become a man, yet they still come and raid the pantry and use the laundry. So
yes, but we haven't properly threw him out yet. But he got money, so first thing he went and bought an iPhone. The first thing he did was newfound cash.
Very nice, very nice.
He's happy. Yeah, so it's finally. I mean, it was like a year of planning, so it's finally over. So it's nice to have it over and not have to worry about it for like another 5 years till she ends.
Start saving again.
I know. Literally. I know.
Yeah.
Yes, so.
Taz, how about yourself? How things going out in California that isn't charred or flooded away?
Well, it started raining finally for the winter. So we had a little bit of rain in November, but then nothing in December at all. And it just now started picking up raining this past weekend. So we're actually getting some accumulation, which is good for the environment, and for the fires. but not so good for geocaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's helping the fires. Look at it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Now, do you have a lot that you lose? Because I know in Texas it's the same way. You're either on fire or underwater. So,
typically they don't get underwater here. But I mean, last year it was record rain, so we had a lot of flooding out here. But for the most part, no, it's.
I think
out here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh.
Oh.
Okay.
Well,
Am I
despite
still-
it being summer, it's raining.
It's poor you. It's 70 degrees and raining.
Not quite 70, a little colder today, but it's sort of that fine rain that gets everywhere. But over the weekend, we had a belt of rain that sort of swept down the country and caused havoc. Missed where we were mostly, but when I spoke to you last, we were driving at high speed up the country towards Christchurch, which wasn't a problem. But we woke up on the Friday to discover that the road that we were planning to take, which is sort of Kaikoura and up to Picton, just basically up the coast, that they'd closed it due to sort of waves washing over it and all the rest. And then we went so we had to go the long way round up through Murchison and that way, which was interesting, but we'd driven that way on the way down. And then on the Saturday, the ferry sailing we were meant to have got cancelled. So we ended up getting a ferry sailing at ugly o'clock.
Oh.
Like, so getting in at 6:30 a.m. So we were like zombies for all of Sunday. But it worked. Before the Saturday worked out quite nice because we got a friend. We'd arranged to meet some friends who've got a place out in the Marlborough Sounds. And we'd met them at Picton Wharf. And they said, "Oh, do you want to come with us for the afternoon?" Oh, yeah. So we went sort of across Picton Sounds to their batch, which is sort of Kiwiana for sort of holiday home, usually passed down in the family rather than on the market. And it's only accessible by boat. And they were hanging out there for the summer holidays, and we'd arranged to leave my youngest there for a week. So we're down to one kid, which is great. But no cache is accessible. But I spent sort of 2 or 3 hours just standing looking on their balcony, looking out over the water and going, wow, at the view.
Wow, those are
So
nice.
that was quite something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's terrible you get stuck in places like that. The horrid. Oh my.
And two motorboat journeys, one there, one back.
I mean, our luck, we're stuck in Trenton, New Jersey or something, and it's not quite the same experience.
No.
You don't want to be stuck in Trenton.
No, you do not. Take it from one who has been. No, you do not.
Take it from someone who accidentally at an exit in Trenton and quickly found his way back to the freeway.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Don't stop. Just don't stop.
Exactly.
Wow. Oh, that sounds great. All right, let's move on to the podcast roundup, letting our viewers know what's going on in the geocaching podcasting community. What's coming up this week on Geo Gear Heads is episode 315, Trackables 5. Chris of the Northwest, aka the Bad Cop, Daryl W4, and I'm Johnny Cash. I love that name. Continue the conversation about geocaching.com's Trackables. All right, good stuff. Back to the basics. Matter of fact, speaking of which, on GeoSnippets Reboot podcast tomorrow on Thursday, back to the basics. Geocaching 101 intro to geocaching. For the folks that do want to get started with geocaching, this will be a good quick course for them to get some of the basics under the belt before they actually go out and go into the wild looking for containers. So that'll be tomorrow on the GeoSnippets Reboot podcast. Finally, please consider becoming a patron of our show, a contributing factor to the Geocaching Podcast. All you have to do is go to geocachingpodcast.com and click on either our PayPal or our Patreon logos. And if you could throw a couple bucks to us each week, we would greatly appreciate it. It helps keep the show going, because it does cost money to do a podcast, and it's with fine viewers like yourselves that help us keep going. All right, good stuff, Scott. I want to make sure I've got this up here. You all set? I'm going to hit the infamous mailbag.
Yes.
I got mail. Yay! I got mail. Yay!
Hi guys, this comes from Bruce Cosins, aka Team Dastardly. And Bruce says, "Hey guys, I've been in the geocaching for just a short time, since 2014. 2014 isn't exactly a short time.
No, that's 4 years.
Yeah, it's like 4 years now.
That's
Unless you
a
wrote this
vet
like 3
now.
years ago. How long you been sitting on this, Andy?"
No, it hasn't been that long.
I've been into geocaching for just a short time and thoroughly enjoy the game. We live in northeastern Nevada, and I have been trying to get more people interested in the game, but to no avail. Some people that I've talked with have tried it years ago and have forgotten about it, and others haven't heard about it, get excited about it, or when talking to them, haven't heard about it, get excited about it when talking to them, yet I never see them again. We've hosted several meet and greets, as well as numerous CETO events, but the number of attendees has sharply dropped off to the point where we canceled the last CETO due to lack of people. Wow,
Ouch.
really? That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
My wife and I were the only ones who were going to be there. I still would have done the CETO. I love the CETO. I guess my question is, how do I get more people interested in the game? The big thing around here now is painted rocks that people hide in plain sight and are randomly found. I would think that there was a strong probability that the two hobbies would be very complementary of each other, yet I can't find the interest for geocaching. Any ideas? I'll be in the chat room Wednesday night. Thanks, Team Dastardly.
Wow, that's something, and I'm not going to go into a rant because it's too easy to go into a rant. I have seen the trends over the past year or two, especially. Scott, if you've used this term before, the golden age, what year would you pick as the golden age of geocaching?
The golden age of geocaching, I would say 2008 to 2012.
Okay, good choice. That's exactly what I would put too. So that was from my best estimates, because Scott and I both started in 2008.
Yes.
Oh, so it went downhill when I joined in 2012.
There you go.
It's all my fault.
That's it. Thanks, Sarah.
I don't know if, those are just, for anybody who doesn't know, those are like in those years is when the iPhone came out, the iPhone 3G came out. It's when the app came out. It's really when it took off and exploded.
Right.
This game play.
Yeah. And I think what ended up happening since 2012 to now, so that's a good 6 years. I think what they went for is the concept of quality or quantity over quality. So they made it very, very easy for people to get the app, but no background behind it. When we joined in 2008, man, that was a whole experience. You learned, you absorbed, you talked to people, you got in with other geocachers, you made it into, every time you went out geocaching was an event in itself.
Sure.
It was that intense.
Right. No, it wasn't intense. It just wasn't, it was a different game.
Yes.
I mean, back then a 6 icon day was so difficult to do.
Yeah. You would do 12 finds and it was awesome.
I could do it in one preserve. I could do a 6 icon,
Yeah.
100 caches in a day in 2009 took me 17 hours.
Oh yeah.
I can do it now in like 3,
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh. It was just a different era with stuff like that. And I think
it really was.
What they're seeing now is kind of the piddling out, I think. Because I mean, think about it. It's basically they consider you a full-time geocacher if you have 3 finds. Yeah. I mean, it's literally to the point now where it's just people are now going to get very much into AR games. They're very much into their phone kind of games anyways. You've got competition with, Munzie and some of the other type of games that are out there. And it doesn't have how do you put it? The meat. It doesn't have the need to get into
the sheen is off. The shine is off. It's not new anymore. It's 17 years old now.
Exactly.
It's 18 years. So it's a little different.
It's harder for people competition wise. I think it's harder to people nowadays, and we'll thank our wonderful millennials that if they can't get to it from their car, they don't want to
reach out their arm.
Oh, God.
I want to get the
I
cat.
can't reach it. It's a lamb skirt and I can't get it up.
I have to walk. Like I have to walk like 400 feet. Come on.
Yeah, really. I know it. So it's
0.25 away.
let alone the one that was a mile in the woods.
Like half a
Or
mile
up a
there.
hill.
Really? That's like half a mile.
Yeah.
I would say last weekend, the ones that we went for on average, we were at least 0.2 to 0.3 miles away from the car for every cache.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
You had
Way it
to
should
walk and or hike.
Yes.
The way it's what the game was about. It's what
Yeah.
this not what the game turned into. It's what the game was about.
Yes, exactly.
And I
Getting
you know,
back to the question. No, go ahead, Tess.
and I enjoy getting out and hiking. I mean, that's one of the reasons I geocache.
Yeah.
So it gets me out there.
Oh, come on. The outfits we wore when we went out, you got the khaki pants, you've got the hiking boots, you've got the insect spray, you've got all the other things that you have, the hat, the whatever to go out. You had a whole basic geocaching uniform, basically.
Wardrobe. Yeah.
Yeah, that you went out with.
That's
Nowadays,
my
it's
normal
like,
wardrobe.
yeah, that's when you learn not to go geocaching in flip flops. But I mean, you learn
Shorts for that, man.
or shorts for that matter. You learn why not to because you go into those environments. We used to laugh about the geocachers knowing where all the best places to hide the body because we were in swamps, we were in deep whatever to go geocaching.
Yeah, sure.
Now it's like I don't want to get my shoes dirty. Really? So yeah, I definitely
know. I know. It's a whole different game now. It really is. It's sad, but it's a whole different game.
Yeah.
You know, but getting back to the question though.
Yeah.
So what can you do to bring people in? I honestly have no idea. I mean, how do you
I mean,
maybe go to the local library, try and do a class, maybe? I'm just totally thinking outside the box here.
I was gonna say I don't know that area at all. So but what
It's where Vegas. It's near Vegas.
Yeah.
Las Vegas. Oh, God help it. That would be my idea of hell. But anyway.
It depends on how well you're doing at the craft table, but that's besides the point.
No, absolutely terrible because I wouldn't be playing. Yeah, but I don't know, is there a local Facebook group or a couple that might be worth reaching out and joining?
Yeah, but you got to get the right people to actually look at that. Nowadays, it's
talking about new people.
Yeah, it's smart.
Yeah, and I was thinking of sort of at least giving you a chance to make connections with the existing caches out there if you haven't already.
Yeah,
and from there you can sort of try and grow it. I mean, we're around Wellington. There's probably a hardcore of about 20, possibly 30 that'll turn up to, most events probably.
Yeah.
And other people come or go as they see fit. You won't get all those hardcore 20 or so, but that event I told you about up at the top of Mount Cow for seeing in New Year, apparently 11 mad souls walked up there in the dark.
Those are the diehards.
Those are well, put it this way, I phoned in and got abused for not climbing it. But ironically, the South Island's sort of higher than only about 15 feet below the summit anyway, just where I was standing talking to them, but they wouldn't let me claim it. Oh, how unfair can you get?
That's it.
Get up there and sign the log.
That's right.
But I mean, it's all going on the. I mean, Chicago used to have a huge geocaching community.
Oh, yeah.
Huge. We have an event there'd be 200-300 people there. Now we just had an event that we used to have 300 people at. There was maybe 70 people at, which is still a big event, but not when used to be 300 people.
Yeah.
Now it's literally 70.
Now you actually have to go out and find the type of people that like going on hikes and long walks and things like that. And specialize
and most of the newbies aren't those people. They're the people who it's the park and grabbers in the parks. They don't want to go into the woods and hike. Have a day. I mean, I've spent days hiking 10, 12 miles a day.
Yep. Yeah, nature would be great if it wasn't for all that dirt and animals and critters and things. And unfortunately, that's the way that I see the trend.
Yeah, most of the regulars that go to events around here have been in the game for 5+ years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's usually a handful or two, and that's it. For us, it's the same thing.
We tend to get I'm just sort of thinking about it off the top of that. We tend to. There's been a few stalwarts that have been in it since I joined. There's actually, but and sort of every summer we tend to get about half a dozen or so new names popping up and visiting, and one or two of them will probably stay through the winter and might join in next year. But there's a fair bit of turnover.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no easy signal for this. There's no easy way of saying, like before it was like, hey, just put a note up on the grocery store board, but they don't do that anymore. So it's things like that.
It's all virtual now, Andrew.
Yeah, it's all virtual now, and it's very difficult to get people to come out of their hidey holes to go and do things anymore. Yeah,
and people have lives. I mean, like even me, as my kids get older, it gets much more difficult to get out in the woods. It does because my kids from baseball. I mean, I have 3 kids in baseball. I am every weekend.
Yeah,
there's baseball games. You know what I'm saying? And they don't end until 3 o'clock.
Life takes over. It really
I mean, it gets very difficult. It's very difficult.
Man, I wish I had a better answer for you, but it's one of those things. Hopefully, you keep at it and you do start building that core group and having that grow. Otherwise,
I would say maybe find I mean, we have on Facebook, we have, where I live, there's a bunch of local boards where I live. Maybe trying those, maybe, say, hey,
we
let's
used
have a
to have
meeting.
websites. There used to be geocaching websites for the main groups, and those are gone. They're all down to Facebook pages, and those are neglected. And
oh yeah. We're our Gonal. I mean, we have a Gonal site that nobody goes to. It's all on the Facebook now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all.
All right. Well, if you guys out there in the real world have ideas, by all means, send it to us. Send us to headhardhat@geocaching.com or get on our webpage and let us know.
Loss of words for this guy.
Yeah, it really is. It's a shame how much it has changed. It is a shame how much it has changed.
But then you shouldn't have canceled again. You should not have logged it.
Yeah. If you're gonna go through having the actual event, get that souvenir. Go out there and
yeah, man. I would have had the event and cleaned up and got souvenir. Why not?
Yeah.
Who cares if nobody's?
That's right. Exactly. All right. Let's move on to excellent subject though, and it's, unfortunately this is something we're gonna have to observe again and maybe put a little more forethought and think about things that we can actually do. But I'm at a loss right now for that one. All right, let's move on to Tez. So I will hit this little button right here.
The news. With Signal's trip to Australia, I can't do an Australian accent. Only a few weeks away. It's time to plan your events. Make sure to submit your event cache by January 12th. That's only a couple days away, folks. Remember, you can earn the Australia Day 2018 souvenir by hosting or attending an event on January 26th through the 28th of 2018. We've put together some tips to spur inspiration for your summertime barbecue party, even if snow may be in your forecast.
Like Sarah.
I've got bloody snow.
We'll have a link in the show notes. This came right out of the blog.
When is January 26th to 28th? Is that weekend?
Yes, that's a weekend. Yes, Friday through Sunday.
It's Auckland Anniversary Day, so it's a public holiday for the top end of the North Island.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I still have that picture of the Signal coming off the plane, waving at the people, and some giant hawk coming down and he's gone.
Actually, if Signal's really unlucky and gets into Northern Australia, cane toads are a pest, and the best thing you can do with them is run them over.
Ah, lovely.
Signal gets ran over.
We love you, Signal, really.
You can't get that little square picture of Signal on the roadkill sign.
Andy, I think you got a little gray going in there now in your beard, by the way.
Oh, thank you. No, that's just a light hitting it just right.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it still dark brown?
It's still dark brown.
It's a little cheaper. Watching the gray grow back in Andy's beard.
That's the powdered sugar from the donut.
Yeah, that's it. We'll do a little morphing thing there over the time. Oh, I don't even want to know what it looks like. Yeah, it's scary over the years. That's another whole thing that we just don't want to touch that. Let's see who put in short survey.
Oh, that was me. It came through on my email this.
Oh yeah, I got that too.
Night, so I stuck a link in. It's only about half a dozen questions, basically does the weekly newsletter work for you, and what do you like about it? Anything you can do to make it better?
Oh, awesome. Okay, well, there's a link for that in the show notes as well that you can try that out. Yeah, at least they're asking. That's something.
That's a good thing, yeah.
Yep.
Hey, man, God bless them.
Yep. Keep it coming, because that only invokes.
I like the newsletter. I gave it about. I like getting the newsletter every week.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Yeah, it must get filtered into my social promotions box, and it's like, because I kind of glance at it, and if I don't see anything real quick, I select all and delete.
Yeah.
Delete. No, I like it. I read it. I actually sit and read it. I like it.
That's good.
It's just the right amount. Once a week. I'll take once a week. More than once a week, I get irritated. But,
right.
Yeah.
Right, good stuff.
I ignore the bits of, hey, you can buy new things for this souvenir, and I think
do
it for me. Yeah. But hey,
geocachers do not spend money, so that's just.
I was actually upset this year because I went. Usually in Jesse's stocking is where I put geocaching stuff, and I went there to buy stuff, and there was nothing there I wanted.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's a shame. Now with what happened with GX Proxy being gone, I don't know if Chris is even going to be making geocoins anymore. So
is Proxy for sure gone? Is she gone?
Yeah, they're officially gone. They went and it was sad. I talked to Beverly a while ago. Matter of fact, I'm expecting another call from her. She wants to sell stuff, and we probably will on the show. Still promote her for those kind of things, because that's what friends are for. But GX Proxy as a company is gone. So
that's a shame.
Yeah,
she was great. She was always great to Walt and me.
God, talk about a firecracker.
Always great to us.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person.
We asked her for swag for the show, and she just gave me a bag full.
Oh yeah,
we had stuff to give away forever.
Yeah, and then Chris Mackey, who is, if you don't know, is her son, also has a business that deals in design. But he was the one. If you've seen probably dozens of his amazing geocoins, I got to ask Beverly if he's still going to put those out or not.
Yeah, if you see a really cool geocoin design, it's probably a Mackey.
Yeah. So. Anyhow, we'll find out. We'll get more information on that over the months. Oh yeah, she's a sweetheart. Okay, let's move on to the episode 522, geocaching CO expectations and responsibilities. Now, this is I want to thank Sarah for coming up with the idea with this, and I'm going to let her take over on this one, because this one, the guys, I think we're going to just back off for a minute with the comments, because they'll be coming quick and fast after this. So I'll let Sarah start off.
What I'll say is, if there's anybody in the chat room that's from New Zealand, I am deliberately not mentioning the cache owner or the cache, and keep that out the chat room. I'm not bagging one particular person much, but but it's the sort of what's reasonable on both parts. Anyway, I was on holiday, as I've kept going on about, making the other guys jealous. But while I was there, I logged one of several DNFs on this cache. And as I was the third person to DNF it in a fairly short succession, I logged a needs maintenance on this CO's cache, and got an email response. I've tweaked it slightly to take the cache owner and cache's details out, but I'm going to read it basically as I got it. Hi, you recently logged a visit on one of our caches. Thanks for visiting.
Wait, hold on. I'm so sorry for stopping you. Yeah. But real quick, you logged a maintenance. What did you say in the maintenance? Just out of curiosity.
I can't even. It was something. What I did was I said that the cache is presumed buried under the fresh pile of earth that somebody else had mentioned in a previous log, and I just clicked the needs maintenance icon that's at the bottom of any website logging. So I didn't.
Okay, so you said something like probably not there. Might want to give this a check.
As I said, something like, as others have said, this appears to be buried under a pile of earth.
Okay. Yeah. So it's legitimate. Could be buried. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I gave it 10 minutes. It's fairly solid searching. It's if you're prepared to drive a fair way along a long gravel road, and we're talking a couple of hours, it's a park and grab. Yeah. So it's nothing particularly strenuous or difficult, but it was quite a way to get to from anywhere.
It's a hike. It's a hike.
It's in the middle
It's
of
a
BF
drive.
nowhere. So
It's not a. It's not a.
All right, so,
It's a drive, not a hike. That one. But
okay.
anyway, I got hi.
All right, so his response was, sorry.
You recently logged a visit on one of our caches. Thanks for visiting. You also logged a needs maintenance log. This is to let you know we have done the miles and the result. As part of our response, we choose to send this standard email to all authors of needs maintenance logs. We do not look for a reply. This email signals the cache is now fixed. We filter all DNF and wet logs for checking. A bookmark link is on affected cache page until fixed, brackets, we don't need the extra log. Your found log is deleted because log not signed. For the record, I did not log it as found. I logged it as a DNF with a needs maintenance attribute.
gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the response email as received. We happily maintain our caches to date. We have done over 1,100 recorded maintenance visits of our own caches. A long
Records
trip.
maintenance visits.
Listen.
I'm sorry.
Keep going. A long trip for you to get here? Probably is for the cache owner too. We take the opportunity to suggest that you consider do as many other players, being Johnny on the spot, and while not a requisite, why not contribute to the game and look at doing a fix? Because we own 1,000+ caches, we appreciate all the help we can get.
Fire and forget.
We are finding 75%. Hang on, it's not finished yet. We are finding 75% of these we check either did not really require our visit or have already been fixed by other caches. We say this on behalf of all cache owners. Besides the cost and frustration to cache owners, this also enhances the experience of fellow cache finders to follow. We hope you are able to enjoy some of our caches. Travel and cache safely. Cheers. Name removed. Cache logged. Name removed. Ours from home 7. Resulting action archived. Here ends the message.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
did he archive his cache or?
He did. I mean, to be fair to him, had it been one of mine, I would have either disabled it to that if I was planning on being out that way anytime within the next couple of months, or I'm quite happy for him to have archived it. That's not a problem. And actually, I thought there was, once I got over my initial thought, which was to explode and say, what is this?
Yeah.
But there are some good points raised, actually. I'm trying to be fair, okay? Some caches can take a fair bit of getting to by cache owners. I mean, I've got one that'll be an overnight trip, and others that would be a full day driving to get to. And I appreciate that cache owners have a life too.
Yeah.
And maintenance can be done by others, and actually often is. In contrast to this cache owner and their blanket email, there's a North Island cache owner that placed a lot of caches in an area a few years ago, but isn't that active now. And many of the local community use his caches for numbers runs, and it's almost standard practice to take out a few replacement logs, etc., and fix them up as and when they find it's necessary. I mean, the difference, I guess, is that he doesn't send out "why didn't you" emails. So what do you guys think?
Well, first of all, it is a blanket response, but he should read before he sends out the blanket response. He should actually read it and make some adjustments. So, for example, you did not mark it as found, and also if it's a wet log and you say it needs maintenance, okay, I can kind of see a thing. Hey, it might be good to bring some log sheets with you in the future. I appreciate you letting me know that I got a wet log in there, but it's not your responsibility there. And does he want you to do a throwdown cache? Right. And also, if you found a wet log and you can't physically sign that log, there's no reason for him to take you off the found list. If you actually found it, there's no reason to take you off of there. I mean, it's a pretty jerky move, in my opinion.
The wording
it's snarky.
Yeah, snarky is definitely it, because I would have ended it with your little dog too by the time the response, because
if you're putting out 1,000 caches and you can't maintain them,
then don't put them out.
Right.
Then curtail it.
Yes.
Well, no. Here's the thing. No, you're wrong, Taz. If you can put out 1,000 caches. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. And here's the thing, though. If you don't want to maintain them, which I know plenty of people who don't, community maintenance is a wonderful thing. Here's the thing. You tell people in the log, in your description, if it's not there, feel free to drop. And second thing you do is if it's miles away from your house, if it's miles away and you don't want to hike out there, what you do is you tell them exactly where you put it. It is on the tree, south side, eye high, hanging. It's a bison. So people know if it's gone or not. So if it's gone, they can replace it. You know what I'm saying? If you make them look around a pine tree for 20 minutes, they're going to go F this and they're going to move on.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That's the thing. If you're going to put it way out there, tell them exactly where it is. There's nothing wrong with that. Put it in the hint, Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
if worst case, like you said, in the worst case scenario, put the information in the hint with things like this cache may need log replacement. This cache may need to be maintained. If so, this is the instructions for it. I think that's perfectly fine in the hint.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to drop. Absolutely. Nobody should DNF this cache. Feel free to drop.
I mean, I don't always carry cache spares. And there's times that I've walked out somewhere and thought, oh God, this really needs a spare log. Damn, it's back in the car, sort of 2 miles away.
Exactly.
But if I've got replacement stuff with me, I'll put it in. But in all honesty, maybe my reaction, but an email like that will make me less likely to remember I've got something that can fix your problem. Rather than more.
You're trying to word it so perfectly sweet, like we're actually putting this out as a concerned CO, but it's coming across as a bunch of spotted dicks, as it were. It's just one of those things that I would get ticked with a response like that, especially if it's freaking,
I mean,
rubber stamped.
I mean, it's actually from the same cache owner. I had a milder version of that about 4 or 5 years ago when I put a needs maintenance on one of his other caches. And that's a while back. But I think part of it is that he doesn't want needs maintenance logs cropping up, because that might alert Groundspeak or the reviewer to prevent him putting out new ones, which is obviously
why would he have 1,000 caches? Is he kidding?
No, actually, no. Gets out, I think. I think he's at least semi-retired. And go.
Still, what does he play? 10 a day? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
They've been in the game for a fair while, so.
Does he do power trails, or does he do like just woodsy all?
I haven't found enough of his to give a definitive. Theirs. I think it's a couple.
That's a lot.
But it's and they're in locations that nobody else has got to. They're usually the ones I've found, at least, a drive along a road. So, but it's a remote road. It's a rural road. I have no problem with him placing them where whoever.
If you're gonna make somebody truck out somewhere like really far away, tell them where it is. Don't be a cockeyed, but tell them where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they, Sarah? Are those type of?
Sorry.
Are those type of caches? I'm just kind of curious about the quality of the caches going on. Not that it makes that much of a bearing, but to me, I would find it interesting if it's quality caches that are being put out there and they're worth going out to find, or are these just camo Ziploc bags with a log in it?
No, these are the ones I found are usually pill bottles or something similar.
It's not even an ammo can; it's a pill bottle, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no problem with no problem with the interesting thing has been, for the ones I've found at least, has been their locations. I can
hike all the way out there for a pill bottle. Is what he does.
Drive. It usually drives.
Okay,
not
drive for an hour on a rocky road for a pill bottle.
I haven't found enough of a representative sample to make a judgment call as to what the standard.
Chat room. Does he make you drive hours on a rocky road for a pill bottle? Go in the chat room.
No, I make me drive hours on a rocky road for a pill bottle.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm
Go
trying desperately to be fair, okay?
Yeah, because
You
I
guys
think
don't have to be, but I do.
right. I don't want to barbecue one of our own here.
Yeah.
Sarah honestly is doing a very good effort here to go through, and I think that's one of the things that we need to talk about a little bit more tonight is the difference between what a CEO as a cache owner, their expectations on what they put out in general, because it's across the board, and then the responsibilities that they should have per the guidelines. There are differences here because there are plenty, and Sarah's doing a great job of trying to be okay. Yes, this was snarky. Yes, this was done in a way that could have been handled a whole lot better, and still trying to be fair for the CEO. So kudos for you, Sarah, with that. But we're still going to barbecue this bun because. I mean, it's one of those things. It all depends on the personality of the geocache owner and how they act. You can go from, let's just say for this, you go from one side of the pendulum where you've got a cache owner that monitors every single log that gets placed on that cache. It isn't spot on for what they want. They will delete the thing. So you have that side of it. When it comes to what they feel is their responsibilities for it.
We've got a cache owner here that thinks that if he doesn't believe you solved his puzzle, that he's allowed to delete your logs,
even though you have the correct answer.
Even though you have gone there and signed the log, he's like, he believes that if he feels that you did not solve it, he can delete your logs.
And big trouble.
And while I won't personally log a cache until I figured out how to solve it, I'll sign the log, but I won't log it as found until I figured out how to solve it.
I have 1,000 puzzle caches. I think I solved like 6 of them.
but I think his philosophy is dead wrong there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that, and then you get this guy, gal, whoever, it's whatever. That has this boilerplate. We're so cool because we've got so many finds, and kindly spits in your face as how dare you that you put a maintenance out on one of ours. And oh man, I'll tell you what, I would have a response and a half for stuff like that. I've
had needs maintenance from newbies so many times that it's ridiculous, and it's like, no, you just haven't found it. You haven't found this type of cache yet.
Right.
Well, my issue really is I'm big enough and ugly enough to be able to take comments like that. But if I'd been a new cacher with sort of say half a dozen finds under my belt and got that, I'd be scared right off. And if we're trying to leading back to the other thing, grow the game, keep the community, add new people to replace those that are no longer able to continue for whatever reason, we need to encourage people, not beat them down.
Yeah, it's a very discouraging email is what that is. If you send that
and in those cases with those newbie cachers, I politely as I could explain to them, this is a little bit tougher than usual cache. You might want to go take a look at some of these easier caches and come back at a later date. But it's likely still there. I'll do a check on it, and I'll do my check on it in the day or two.
And those skirts.
Yeah. Now, Sarah,
not a skirtlet. The one that always got it was one that's a flat magnetic with the log sheet on the back.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Sarah, let me throw this scenario at you and see what your thought is with this. What if this was the last one of your jazz mirror, and this was on for something like that? You got something like this, or this was the one where you were on your trip in Europe, and you're in pick a country that got you that souvenir, and you get something like this.
Well, I
he
will
even
confess,
made a hint that long ways away, tough took us for that.
Well, I will confess. This is confess my sins time. There was when I was in the UK over the couple of months back. I was driving down from the Midlands down to London, trying to see how many counties I could pick up on the way, just going either side of the M1, which is the main north-south motorway. And there was one that I pulled off, and I can't even remember which county it was. But I only had time to find one cache in that county. And I found one that I thought would be nice and easy, not too far. I was looking for as close to a park and grab as I could find. I'd already DNF'd a couple, so I was getting a pretty grumpy and poor kid in the car with me. But I found it. Actually, I think I found this cache. I found the lid.
Oh.
I found the
Sign
lid
the lid
that
and move on.
fitted the hip.
Yep.
I actually posted it. What I did was I took a photo of it. And when I wrote the log up, posted the photo. I posted it initially as a write note of, I hope I haven't found the cache, but this is what I did find. And stuck it on my watch list for about 3 months. And then other people kept putting logs around of, well, this is all I found as well. I did actually put a needs maintenance on that one.
Yeah.
Nothing happened after about 3 months, when no maintenance had been done. It was still active. People were still logging finds on this lid. And I gave in and logged it as a find.
Yeah.
You signed the lid.
Should I have done that? Should I not? I'll leave that up to listeners.
I am not
decide.
judging you. I don't care.
Play the game how you want to play the game. I mean, there's a.
Had it been at Last of a Jasmine, hell yes, I probably would have signed
I
it.
don't care.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care.
There was a 2001 cache in Houston area where there was a physical, an old style letterbox, not a letterbox hybrid that's on geocaching.com, within about 30 feet of where it was. And even on the box, it says, this is a letterbox. This is not a geocache. People still consistently signed it and logged it as that geocache. I refuse to do it, but it's like, play the game how you want to play the game.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually had a thing in northern North Carolina that I had made for Happy Meal toys. And on the lid, it said, do not remove. And I start getting these things saying the only thing that we found is they took everything else and left the lid that says do not remove. So
well, they obeyed the instruction. They left the lid.
Yeah. So I guess I should have been a little more specific on the signage of the box.
Yeah.
Taz, too much to your chagrin. I went once here in Chicago, actually right at that time, not too far, a couple miles away from me. There is a park that has a letterbox and a geocache in the same tree.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Same tree.
Yeah,
I found a letterbox and a geocache on opposite sides of a not a dock, a little mini dock over a small pond.
Oh, okay.
Kind of thing.
Does anybody letterbox anymore? Is that even around anymore?
Yeah,
it still happens, and I've probably found 7 or 8 real letterboxes that are not hybrids,
right? They're actually
just by stumbling across them while geocaching.
Yeah,
I found some too.
A couple of years ago when I went to one of West Virginia Tim's education events that he had, we were in the hotel and there were people there with GPSs and logbooks and pens and everything looked exactly like geocachers. And it's like, hey, you're going to the event? They said, yeah, we're going to the letterbox event. They were actually having a letterbox convention that weekend in Martinsville.
Like I'm making a convention.
I don't know. They had one. They had a convention, and there was probably 150 letterbox people that were there. I had a good time talking with a lot of them.
Is a mega a convention? Do you consider a mega a convention?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the only thing difference is the freebies.
There's no convention hall. Yeah. But other than that,
the outdoors is the convention.
Outdoors is the hall. There you go.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's they're still strong, and they were very proud of they acknowledged geocaches, but they felt the same way about letterboxing like we feel about geocaching. So it's whatever your hobby is, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew I've come across them. I've never met anyone who did it, nor that I.
Yeah,
no,
they dress and do the same crazy stuff that geocachers do. So
they wear dumb hats too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, talking maintenance, I just one thing I'll just throw into the mix. There's an event this weekend which up in Wellington, which I'm not sure whether I'll actually be able to get to. I hope to, but we're hoping to have a mega in Wellington in October this year. And what the people that are organising it, and I'm not one of them, are holding a meeting to try and say, let's all get around the area because we want all the caches to be findable and present and in good order back in October when we hold the event. So divvying up, saying, right, who's going to check which track and when, to make sure that the missing logs are, ones with soggy logs have got good log books, and
so just over across the board maintenance.
Yeah, just sort of almost a flash mob maintenance thing to make sure that when people come over here in October, what's there is is in reasonable condition.
I think that's a good idea. Now,
that's
Scott,
good.
Scott, with the event that you go to every year,
West Bend?
With West Bend and that, do they do something similar to that to make sure everything's up to snuff?
I don't know. I don't live in West Bend, probably, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, you've gone plenty of times. Do you still find the soggy goo logs while you're there, or do they all seem like?
No, they're all good. Yeah, I don't. No, you don't see too many soggy goo ones. But but then again, like in West Bend, usually those caches are made pretty good and they're maintained because of that. Because of I mean, West Bend is not just West Bend and that's it. People constantly go to West Bend all year round.
Right.
And just because you can go and you can get 400 caches in a day.
Right.
Holy shit!
People go there anyway. I mean, oh yeah, look at a map.
Go, Sarah.
Go to geocaching.com's map of West Bend. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Tiny little town. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. There's nothing more disappointing than having solved a puzzle-based geo art and going out there and you DNFing the first 5 or 6 of them before you finally say, screw this, I'm done. I'm done with this, because none of them have been found within the last year. And I when I went out to Seattle for the APE event last year, that's what happened.
Yeah,
I was like, I could not friggin' believe it. And admittedly, it was that art went out in 2013, but if you're not maintaining it, you need to close it down.
Yeah, especially if it's something like that. I actually
Right.
I remember years back, there was a town, I won't say the name anymore, but there was a town near where I live, and went with my daughter, and it was the first time we went geocaching in that area. And I think maybe out of 60 caches, less than a dozen were found or decent. The rest of them were either missing, busted, or goo. I ended up writing a message in my blog at that time about it, and got back several. I'm expecting people to just go crazy and just rat me out. They said, "We are so sorry. We never realized how bad it had become over the years of people just not maintaining." They went out and did something similar to what Sarah had said, and literally cleaned up the entire area with refreshing the geocaches, whether they owned them or not. And to pick them up to make it, because they wanted, this is representing your area, and if you want people to come and
especially if it's especially if it's something like something that people come out, it's a destination cache.
Yes, exactly. Because let's face it, that brings in money.
People are going there, and they're probably going to eat local, maybe even shop local.
Yes, whatever.
Yeah.
Certainly buy some petrol.
Yeah.
And I've gone out with the cache owners and did the trail with them, and we took along replacement caches, and as we went, we did maintenance. We had a good time, 4 or 5 of us hanging out together, doing 40 50 caches.
Yeah.
Geocacher right here, Hailmeister, he's got a trail. It's about 40 caches long. We did it once, and whenever people say they're going to go do it, because they email him and say, "Hey, we're going to go do it," and he says, "I'll go with," and he usually comes with, and he takes the bike ride with everybody, and he brings caches, and if something's bad, he maintains it.
Yep.
Yep.
So kudos to him for doing that. I mean, like
Yeah,
that's
for anybody that does stuff.
he
Like
probably
that,
fixed 2 or 3 while we were out there. You
that's
know,
what keeps the
Yeah.
geocaching community going. Because if that stops, it's over.
oh yeah,
Right.
It is over.
but he makes sure it's good. You know, he's like, it's all good, and he'll just sit there and wait for you to find it, and then we'll just move on. You know.
Yep.
And yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
we've got a guy like that who does he's got a geo-art trail around the Karori Wildlife Sanctuary, and he's been known to come out. Somebody said, "Hey, I want to do them all in a day," and there's only 30 in the series, but it's a long. If you do them all at once, it's a long walk, and it's not a flat walk, to put it mildly. And you do. So he's been known to come out with them and go round and double check that the boxes are still where they were meant to be.
Yeah. Well, I would say the same thing with, like, if you've got a series of geocaches that have the same theme and they're all built together, and it's, you know, a lot of them they do, like there's a cat one that I'm familiar with around us, where it's a path, although about a 2-mile path around this lake, and there's probably 25 different cat themed geocaches around it. After a while, they kind of got out of it, and it's kind of like what Chad said, where you're starting to do it, and this one's there, but that one's not, and the next one's not, and whatever. It's like, why bother? So it's really that important to keep stuff like that going.
yeah,
I mean,
or make it where it's like we have one where I used to live back at my old house, something called the Randall Romp. It's a Randall Road, is about a 12 miles of just the 12-mile road of just strip malls.
Yeah.
Okay, literally 12 miles of strip malls. And this guy has got probably 300 caches in skirts down that street. It's a destination. People come from all over to go to do the Randall Romp, right?
Right.
But he says in his logs, replace it. It's a parking crab. You know, like it ain't there. If it's replace it. You know, like don't ever DNF this cache. Nobody should ever DNF one of these caches. You know, like
I was going to
so
say
like, there is community maintenance. One other thing is that, like, also the only time we really see community maintenance, especially along these lines, is a lot of the older caches people will fix. You know, like
the ones you don't want to archive.
Yeah, like the ones that have been around forever. Like those are the ones that, like, yeah, they really, community will get back, and those like, hey, I'm gonna go out and fix this tomorrow. I saw it was broken, so I didn't have stuff with me, so I'm gonna go back tomorrow. You know,
or if it's really really cool and you don't want it archived as well. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be old, but you know, I've got one that periodically the lake by it floods, and it's an ammo can that is tethered to the base of the tree, and it gets pulled underwater, and an ammo can underwater will take on water. So you know, every year or so someone throws in a new logbook, and it's like, great. Keeps going.
Yep. Wow. Any other final thoughts for COs as far as either now, I know a lot of people sit there and say, okay, if it's gone, replace it. That for me, if you're putting out a geocache, just as a general rule, if you're putting out a geocache that is so far back in the thorns and burrs and everything else, like and you place the cache and you dig your way out and you go, I will never go back to that again. Don't place it. I mean, it's, you know, there's fire and forget, and there's stuff like that.
Or, like I said, don't make it a micro. Make it big, and tell us exactly where it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you place a set with the best of intentions, and you can't, and you think, well, actually, I've moved and I can't get back to there. Put them up for adoption.
Right.
Yeah.
See if somebody else will take
archive them up to somebody else.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I'm adopting some out, and others if they're it's just a crappy cache. Once it gets a needs maintenance or on there, it's like ends and it's done. Close.
Yeah. I mean, I moved 30 miles away from where I used to live, a little over 30, and as my caches go missing out there, you know, which a couple have, I don't go replace them. I archive them. I'm too far away. You know, I'm not gonna
let someone else put something out there.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
exactly.
So.
And then you can go back and find it because you know where it is.
I'm never going back there again.
I'm not flying back to Houston just to grab a cache.
Yeah.
I've grabbed all the caches that I would have flown to Houston for.
There you go. All right, good stuff. Any final thoughts? And otherwise, a good discussion today, folks. This was really good. And kudos to Sarah for keeping her composure on not giving them the some Kiwi reference to something that we wouldn't understand anyway. So,
Yeah.
all right, good stuff. All right, folks, thanks for stopping on by. We really greatly appreciate it, and we will see you fine folks next week on the Geocaching Podcast. I think I'm going to hit this button right here.
Music.
Thank you for subscribing to the Geocaching Podcast. Please be sure to join us each and every week, every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another episode of the Geocaching Podcast, right here on the Geocaching Podcast website at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. The video version of our show is available on YouTube, and the audio version is available on our home website, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and many of your favorite podcatchers. We love hearing from our viewers and listeners, so please visit us through our social media sites or contact us via our voicemail line at 630-31-VOICE. The Geocaching Podcast is a Headhardhat production and is produced by Andy Smith, Scott Burks, Chad Courtney, and Sarah T.S. This show is copyright 2018 by Andrew T. Smith. All rights reserved. And clear. Good stuff. So yeah, if you've got your CO stories out there on both sides, we're willing to listen and hear about this. Send us feedback. Send it to us.
Both sides of what?
Well, if maybe somebody with as a CO might have some opinions that we either talked about that they want to get brought across, or for other people that feel that the COs should have responsibilities and may or may not. We'd love to hear about it. So good stuff. All right, folks, have a good one. Have a safe one. And we will see you next week on the Geocaching Podcast. Bye-bye, folks.